Torey Lovullo joining me now. We appreciate it as always, Skip. Good to be with you as always. This team is on some kind of tear right now. 9 games above 500 for the first time this season. What's been the biggest benefit or the biggest reason for that?
We've got a good baseball team. We've got good baseball players that finally started to play the way that we felt like they were capable of playing. We had a lot of injured athletes. I think, and everybody's going through that. That's not an excuse. 4/5 of our starting rotation, a very good starting rotation. Merrill Kelly, Zach Gallen, Eduardo Rodriguez, Jordan Montgomery, all out at one time. And we felt as soon as we started to layer back in those guys that we were going to get consistent pitching from the mound. And we got a couple of very key players in Geraldo Perdomo and Alec Thomas healthy. And we just felt like it was a matter of time before we started to really play our game and connect things. What we say here is a connected team is a dangerous team. We really believe in that. And our guys know one another. And I just feel like the piece of the puzzle is starting to come together. And we'll place it in there real nice.
Yeah, you're getting some reinforcements. Eduardo Rodriguez making his season debut today after dealing with the shoulder strain. What type of boost can that give a rotation?
Well, just having somebody like him around inside of the clubhouse, inside of the dugout, it's a big present, and there's so much experience. And he's getting ready to throw his first pitch for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and here we are in August. So it's been a long runway for him, and I know that he's battled through some frustration, but it's here now in front of him, and he's so excited. That's just the guy getting ready. Now we talk about the competitor. We got a really good history with him, Mike Hazen and I, from our time in Boston, and we know what he's built on. He's built on going out there and executing and winning baseball games, and we're going to get a chance to see that tonight. So, we feel like the stuff is very sharp. We've been watching it closely through his rehab progression, and he's extremely excited and ready for this challenge.
All right, when you're talking about rehab progression, let's talk about Christian Walker. Such a potent bat, obviously, in that Arizona Diamondbacks lineup. Obviously, a great first baseman. Where is he in terms of dealing with that oblique issue? When do you hope to get him back?
Yeah, that was a big loss for us. He's such a catalyst, an offensive catalyst for us. And defensively, he saves games. It's known. The statistics prove that. So we're missing a really good baseball player on both sides of the ball. And then on top of that, he's a great teammate. So we know that he's healing up. He's now in Arizona, and he's taking care of his business from a rehab standpoint. In his place, Mike Hazen went out and made a great trade and picked up Josh Bell. And we know that he's gonna hold down the fort. And that's what, when I talked to Walk on the phone the morning of his results, I told him that, we have an obligation to him. We're gonna hold serve for him. And his responsibility was going to be to take care of his business, heal up, and keep his mind sharp and strong so the day that he's ready to come out and execute, he's going to help us win baseball games. So real excited that, we made that agreement, and we'll see how it moves forward. We know that he's going to do everything he can to help us win games when he's healthy.
Yeah, obliques, hamstrings, and groins, Torey, are so tricky. Gabriel Moreno on the IL likely with that groin issue. How do you hold serve for him in his absence?
Yeah, that was a really tough thing to watch yesterday. The funny thing is, we're grown men, right? Grown men running as hard as they can for 90 feet. And, you can see how bad he wanted the base hit because he continued running the last 15 feet, right, to get that base hit. So I'm glad that happened, but I hate the fact that an athlete ended up on the ground and we had to pull him off the field. He's on his way back to Arizona as we speak right now to get an MRI and be evaluated by our doctors. He is going to be put on the IL. And once again, this is where we're at. Everybody has them. You can go through the entire league and see that these players are knocked down and injured. It's who's going to come in and replace these guys and kind of hold down the fort. We're gonna have Del Castillo come up from AAA. He's been having a really, really good offensive season. He's growing defensively. We feel like he's going to be very compatible with Jose Herrera behind the plate, and we should be just fine.
Yeah, Moreno was so good for you guys in the postseason last year. And speaking of the postseason, obviously, I know you and Chris Rizzo had a funny little game going last year. Arizona was so good last year, and it is your job as a manager, obviously, to kind of cultivate that environment and kind of have the petri dish of allowing them to do what they do to be successful. How do you do that again this year, creating that environment to get you guys where you want to be?
Yeah, first of all, Mad Dog, you're my boy. And I was watching the lead-in, and I saw you wink at him when you were talking about last year. and the bet he made. You're right. That's probably the hardest part of my job is to make things mesh and put things together in a way that it works every single day. Baseball is an emotional game. We have tremendous athletes on our team. But at the end of the day, we live and breathe just like everybody else. We have good days and bad days. So I just want to make sure I balance that out and push these guys every single day to be the best that they can possibly be and share the good moments, embrace the moments where we can teach and learn together and push them down the field a little bit so they don't make the same mistakes and they grow and learn. We have a really, really good, young, exciting group of core players that have been raised inside of our system. So they know our language. They know my language. They know the language of each other. And that becomes very powerful.
And I tell you what, Corbin Carroll needs to get back to where he was last year to get you guys where you want to be. He's such a huge part of that core that you talk about, Torey, and he is showing some power. Recently, obviously a .505 slug, 15 extra base hits, 6 of which are home runs, and he's scoring a lot of runs too. How do we get him back to that National League Rookie of the Year caliber that he was? Because you know it's in there, and of course, I mean, it goes like this. I mean, this is a game that'll kick you right in your teeth.
Yeah, you've been in a long time, and you couldn't have said it any better. The one beautiful thing about Corbin is he takes the highs and lows right in stride. And he was one of the best players in the National League last year, and you would have never known it. So he never got too high, and he's not getting too low. He's middling it right now, and he's really trying to work through some things that are going to make him a better baseball player. That's the bottom line. He has started to trend in a very positive direction, which is super nice. The July numbers that we saw were migrating north, and he's a catalyst. When he gets on base, it's a run, and that's why he's hitting at the top of our lineup against right-handed pitching. We feel really good about his ability to see balls and strikes. That's improved over the past couple of months. And then it's just swing decisions, just making good swing decisions and not missing the pitch that he's looking for. But he's got a championship mentality. And you got to remember, he's 23 years old, right? Let's all go back to when we were 23 years old. To experience what he has experienced, he was the National League Rookie of the Year and then has the standard that he's standing on. It's hard to be that guy. And he's going to ebb and flow. And that's back to what I was saying. I do want to bake everything in and just love and support these guys and just push them every single day.
Yeah, I don't remember 43, let alone 23. Before I let you go, Torey, let's ask about Paul Sewald just for a moment. The hardest outs to get are the final 3 of the 27. How does he get back to form to become your closer once again?
Yeah, you're not kidding. And Paul, first of all, has been so good for us. He's just hit a little rough patch there in the month of July. And what I explained to him was I'm just going to take him outside of that role for right now, let him catch his breath, and then he'll tell me when it's that time. He's had 2 really good appearances. They were back-to-back appearances, but I still want to give him a chance to catch his breath. You talk about somebody that knows how to go out there and get big outs. You talk about somebody that knows how to – are you still there? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I got you. Go ahead.
Yeah, that knows how to slow the game down and be a great teammate. Paul Sewald is at the top of the list. So we're going to get him there again. He's going to tell us. But there's some delivery things that we're working on right now. He's got a great pitching coach in Brent Strom. He's got a great support system and the other pitching coaches built around him. And then also he's got a championship mentality. He's going to figure it out. And when that happens, he's going to let us know by his performance.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Torey Lovullo, one of my favorites. I always appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate your candor, your honesty. Best of luck the rest of the way, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Alanna, have a good one.